Op die lys van lande waarna Suid-Afrikaners wil emigreer, bekleë Kanada tans die top-posisie. By my in die ateljee is Avramis, Kanadese-burger en stigter van Beaver Immigration. Nicholas, welcome to Winslyn. It's fascinating that after the in this in COVID world, the Canadian government said no. A way for us to get this economy going is to get entrepreneurs from the rest of the world to settle in Canada. Why was that the approach?
Well, thank you so much for having me this evening. I have a little secret for you. It's always been the case. So COVID never changed that. Part of the secret to Canada's success as being the 7th largest economy in the world is immigration. Okay, the country's roots and its history is by attracting immigrants from around the world. One of the reasons Canada is so reliant on immigration is, unfortunately, we lose our top talent to the United States. That's our tech talent, medical talent, artistic talent, financial talent. And to fill those gaps in our labor, Canada aggressively goes around the world through its various visa programs and attracts top talent to Canada.
So let's look at the options for South African entrepreneurs before we get into the types of entrepreneurs that you are seeing that are going across. But what are the options? I know the biggest hurdle obviously is to apply for a visa. If I'm a South African entrepreneur thinking of taking my business to Canada, what's my options?
That's a really good question. I will tell you, the Canadian immigration system is very large, complex, and dynamic. Part of the reason is the Canadian government receives millions of applications for a variety of visas, whether it's temporary work visas, student visas. It's very large and complex. When it comes to business immigration, it really falls into a few categories. One is your basic intercompany transfer. You have a parent company here in South Africa. That company wants to establish a footprint in Canada, so they move the corporate entity over and they move key personnel. That takes a particular footprint. Then you have each province in Canada has its own visa programs in terms of what that province is looking for. And these provincial programs all have different immigration investment thresholds. So they could be looking for investments from entrepreneurs from anywhere from 2 million rand all the way up to 10 million rand. Requirements that they have to hire 1 Canadian, 2 Canadians, 5 Canadians, okay? Then from there, we have significant benefits visas, where if the entrepreneur can prove that they have a significant benefit, they can get a temporary work permit to come in. Then there's more specialized visas, something like the Startup Visa program, which I'd like to talk to you about shortly, which is one of Canada's flagship visas to attract top entrepreneurs.
Let's talk about that one.
So sure, the Startup Visa is the Canadian government's flagship visa program to attract entrepreneurs from around the world. This visa is for immediate permanent residency, okay? And the genesis of this visa was in and around 2015. The government of Canada realized it was not equipped to enter the 4th Industrial Revolution. Quite simply put, we were still losing the battle with the brain drain. And the Canadian government knew that somewhere around the world, there was an immigrant entrepreneur who potentially could be a unicorn, okay? And they knew that immigrant entrepreneurs, they need support, they need large markets, okay? And they need that safety and security for their families, what we call the Canadian bubble. So they created this program to immediately bring them into the country, with very few parameters, okay? So the startup visa, there's no minimum investment amount. There's no personal net worth requirements. There's no need to hire Canadians. And most importantly, what sets this visa program apart from any business visa program, probably around the world, it's not performance-based. Because the government of Canada realizes that an immigrant entrepreneur who's coming with a startup visa that could be at various stages of technological readiness has a high chance of failure. And is that entrepreneur going to risk coming to Canada with their family if their status in the country is linked to the success of their business.
Yeah.
So whether it's success or failure, you're going to be a Canadian. The government of Canada is willing to roll the dice on you and your family to come in.
Tell me, do we have any idea of the types of entrepreneurs that you have seen very briefly since 2015, the kinds of South African entrepreneurs that have moved to Canada?
Absolutely. Now, I should tell you, this is a highly competitive visa program, okay? There's about 3,000 to 4,000 applications made every year, and there's about 2,500 successful applications. Now, the good news for South Africans, South Africa has a 90% success rate, which is the highest out of any country, okay? Why is that? Well, South Africans are very innovative. They're extremely entrepreneurial. A word many of the viewers know, they're very clever, okay? Especially when it comes to fintech, medtech. These are places where South Africans accelerate. So what are the requirements of the Startup Visa program? Well, there's 4 basic requirements, okay? The first is you have to have a qualifying business, right? So each founder of the business has to own 10%. You have to pass the English test, let's say 50%. You have to have enough funds in terms of proof of funds to support you and your family, depending on the family size. But the most important requirement is to receive a letter of support or a commitment certificate from a Canadian designated organization.
Okay.
So here's the catch. The government of Canada knew the visa officers in the sleepy visa posts, whether it's in Pretoria, Sao Paulo, Brazil, or Hong Kong, they're not going to know necessarily what the next Uber or Airbnb is going to be, all right? So they approached VCs, angel investors, and business incubators. And they told them, business immigrants from around the world are going to approach you. And if you feel they have an innovative business idea, has the potential to create Canadian jobs, and can eventually scale up globally, you will issue them a letter of support, and we will bring them into this country on immediate work permits and give them permanent residency.
Sure, perfect. Nicholas, I wish we had more time, but I'm sure we're going to have you back. It's a fascinating program. Thanks for your time. Mense se idees oor werk het na die COVID-19 pandemie baie verander. Is daar 'n skakel dalk tussen hierdie nuwe idee van werk en immigrasie? Ons neem 'n vinnige advertensiebreek en gesels net hierna verder. Bly gerus ingeskakel.